Hi everyone, this is Richard. In this video, we're going to go over logging using the print statement. So we have this web application right here. It's very simple, straightforward. Scruffy young man walks into the bar, cheap and shady and cheap bar, and then the man drinks. That's all we really do. No logging going on, but if you think about it, what would you like to log about this, if anything, itself? Do you really need to keep a log? Well, you might want to. You probably don't want the user to say how many drinks the person is having, right? Or how many times he walks into the bar, or how many times you looked at the bar, right? But you might want to keep track of something like that. So what if, for example, the guy has a bunch of different drinks and he gets into a car? You might need to track that. Now, you don't necessarily want to tell the person, because can you imagine that if you were at a bar and you ask the bartender, hey, can I have a drink? Here you go. This is drink number 1. And then you order another drink and he says, oh, here you go. Here's drink number 2. It gets a little annoying after a while, right? So you might not want to annoy the user with that information. But at the same time, you want to keep track of it somewhere, or at least keep a log, keep track of it in case something else happens. We know what's going on. Or not that you're looking for anything that's bad that goes on, but you're just going to keep track of it itself overall for some other reason in case something else comes up, right? So what will we do? Let's go ahead and track this information without actually, providing it for the user. So on drink, I'm going to say int drinks equals 0, okay? And then here I'm going to say drinks plus plus. And then here I'm going to say print man has had drinks. Let's try that. And so I'm going to go here, more tools, developer tools. Let's expand this a little bit so it's easier to read. Okay. And so you click on man, scruffy man walks into the bar, fine, and he gets a drink. And so it lists right here, man has 1 drink. So remember, this is not what the user is looking at, right? So the user is looking at this. He's just having the same drinks. But if we go again, don't need that. More tools, developer tools. There we go. Under the console, man has 7 drinks. So I clicked on it 7 times. So that's a way of actually tracking how many drinks the person is actually having, right? So this is information that, again, user doesn't need, and I don't really need that, but it's good to keep track of that. So how many times does he walk into the bar? So we can do the same thing. Int bar walk equals 0. And then I'm going to say bar walk plus plus, and I'm gonna say print he walked into the bar walk times. All right, so man, he walked in the bar 1 times. Now, we could have an if statement that if it was 1, then it would be time. If it was more than 1, it would be times. But probably not necessary at this point in time. Drink. So we're tracking all of these things itself. So if there's anything that happens to the program, look, we could go back on it and say, what exactly happened? What happened here? What happened here? And we could just track it down and see what's going on, okay? Finally, let's see. On drink, on bar. If you click on the bar, you can always, since there's no method right here, you can always put a method up here, okay? So on bar, and it would be, right here, class bar. So bar.onClick, this is this bar. So you can always put int bar views bar views plus plus and print, you looked at this bar this many times, but it would have to be under this particular stream. All right, so that's the simple. Notice how simple it is, right? The hard part is not putting print statements here and there. That's actually quite simple. The hard part is, where do you put the print statements and what information do you want to gather? That's the hard part, right? So, hey, maybe I really don't need to track this. Or maybe I do. Maybe I want to track something else. What do I want to track? That happens with experience. And sometimes it may be a little difficult to learn because experience just takes time to learn. All right, so that's one of the reasons why this is both a very simple, straightforward, as well as both complicated at the same time. Okay, but let's keep moving on with logging. Thanks.